Good morning, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. It's Wednesday, June 25th, 2025, and this is your AM update.
I said, you got to call back the planes. It's enough. It's enough. And they did, which I respect very greatly. So nobody was killed.
President Trump convincing Israel to stand down in a moment threatening to upend the ceasefire with Iran just hours after it was announced.
Homeland Security, I know the FBI, they are focusing on doing everything we can to keep our nation safe.
DHS announcing the arrest of 11 Iranian nationals living in the U.S. illegally, including an alleged former sniper in the Iranian army. The Trump administration strikes back against what it calls a lawless, rogue judge, and both the prosecution and defense rest in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. All that and more coming up in just a moment on your AM update. Let me tell you about Financial Yield Solutions, Inc., known as FYSI. If you are handling your own books or you have a bookkeeper, you risk inaccuracies, missed deductions, and blind spots in cash flow. FYSI's team of seasoned accounting professionals, corporate and tax attorneys, handle every journal entry, bank reconciliation, and month-end close with unmatched precision, delivering clear and timely financial reports that keep you in control. They weave advanced tax avoidance strategies into your bookkeeping so you capture every deduction before you file and plug you into their network of industry leaders and referral partners for real-world growth opportunities. Set up your free consultation to learn how FYSI's experts will transform your books into a growth engine and accelerate your business to the next level. Act now to claim your free $5,000 business assessment, available only for a limited time. Visit FYSI.com/Megyn, use promo code Megyn, or call 800-877-4000 today. President Trump intervening in the critical early hours of a fragile ceasefire agreement brokered between Israel and Iran amid escalating strikes from both sides that threatened to reignite the war. Overnight Monday, Israel and Iran continuing to trade fire. President Trump Tuesday morning on the White House lawn expressing his clear frustration in frank terms.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Shortly afterward, aboard Air Force One heading to a NATO summit, President Trump telling reporters he spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, convincing him not to retaliate against Iran, who had breached the ceasefire agreement.
The ceasefire is very much in effect, and I think we're going to keep it there for a long time.
Did you speak to Prime Minister Netanyahu about that?
I did.
What did you tell him?
I said, you got to turn back the planes. Look, they hit him very hard after we made the deal yesterday. As you know, Iran hit them very hard last night because of that. And there was going to be a retaliation this morning by Israel. And I said, you got to call back the planes. It's enough. It's enough. And they did, which I respect very greatly. So nobody was killed.
Democrat Congressman from Texas, Al Green, on Tuesday filing an article of impeachment against President Trump for ordering the Saturday evening strike on 3 key Iranian nuclear facilities. Mr. Green announcing the resolution on the House floor.
HRES 537 has been filed because I believe that the President of the United States has committed an impeachable act. I believe that if we do not take immediate action, this authoritarian president will not only devolve the country into authoritarianism, I believe he is a would-be dictator who would become a dictator.
Under the first Trump administration, Congressman Green filed multiple articles of impeachment against the president, his latest failing Tuesday afternoon with 344 members, including 128 Democrats, voting to table the resolution, 79 voting to proceed with impeachment. Mr. Green, you may remember, was escorted out of the president's joint address to Congress in March for his continued interruptions. Many Democrats, including Congresswoman AOC, Jasmine Crockett, and Ilhan Omar, criticizing President Trump for not seeking congressional approval before launching the strikes, because Jasmine Crockett is who we want making our military decisions. Congresswoman Omar on Saturday releasing a statement reading in part, quote, Military strikes will not bring peace. They will only provoke more violence, destabilize the region, and endanger U.S. troops and civilians, a prediction that has so far proven incorrect. Congresswoman Crockett and AOC, who initially said the strikes amount to an impeachable act, speaking out separately earlier this week.
I'm the one that's supposed to make a fucking decision or at least get a vote.
He unilaterally brought the United States into a war without congressional approval. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional.
On Truth Social, the president writing in part, quote, "Stupid AOC, one of the dumbest people in Congress, can't stand the concept of our country being successful again. When we examine her test scores, we will find out that she is not qualified for office, but nevertheless far more qualified than Crockett, who is a seriously low IQ individual, or Ilhan Omar, who does nothing but complain about our country, yet the failed country that she comes from, by the way, that's Somalia, doesn't have a government, is drenched in crime and poverty, and is rated one of the worst in the world. AOC and her Democrat friends have just hit the lowest poll numbers in congressional history, so go ahead and try impeaching me again. Make my day." House Speaker Mike Johnson Tuesday on Fox saying his colleagues are out of line.
It is ridiculous for anyone to assert that the commander-in-chief, using his Article 2 power under the Constitution, should have to consult all the members of Congress or even all the leadership in Congress every time he has to make a decisive, quick action. I mean, that would not be feasible. So the idea that they're saying that what he's done is somehow inappropriate or unconstitutional is nonsense. None of them ever complained when Barack Obama and Joe Biden used the same authority to drop bombs all over the Middle East, all over the world.
The Department of Homeland Security announcing the arrest over the weekend of 11 Iranian nationals illegally in the United States. A DHS statement reading in part, quote, "Criminal illegal aliens arrested include an individual with admitted ties to Hezbollah, a known or suspected terrorist, and an alleged former sniper for the Iranian army." The arrests come as DHS warns of heightened risk of lone wolf attacks here in the homeland, inspired by the strikes against the Iranian nuclear facilities. Trump administration officials in recent days drawing attention to the over 1,000 illegal immigrants here from Iran who entered the U.S. under the Biden administration's open border policies. President Trump on Tuesday commenting on potential sleeper cells within the U.S.
And Biden was an incompetent president, had no idea what he was doing. He hardly ever signed a document. Other people signed documents for him with the auto pen. It was gross incompetence. And among everything else, he let a lot of supercells in, many from Iran. But hopefully we'll take care of them. What Biden did to this country should never be forgotten.
Attorney General Pam Bondi testifying Monday on the Hill as to the DOJ's efforts to protect the homeland.
How many Iranian sleeper cells do we suspect are in the United States?
Congressman, I can't talk about that in this setting. But what I can tell you is I know Homeland Security, I know the FBI. They are focusing on doing everything we can to keep our nation safe, and they will continue to do that. Yeah, it's a frightening time in which we live right now, but President Trump is committed to keeping all Americans safe, and we look forward to working with you on that.
Coming up, the Trump administration challenging a federal district court judge it says is openly defying the U.S. Supreme Court. And both the prosecution and defense rest in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. If you've ever tried to sleep through a summer heat wave, you know the struggle. You flip the pillow over, you toss the covers, you're sweating through the night. It's unpleasant. Let me tell you about Cozy Earth sheets. These are not your average sheets. Made from viscose from bamboo, Cozy Earth bedding is naturally temperature regulating, designed to keep you cool, dry, and comfortable all night long. But Cozy Earth is not just for bedtime. Their apparel line, like the all-day tee and studio pant collection, is ridiculously soft, breathable, and perfect for lounging, traveling, or just living in comfort. Once you try it, you'll want to wear it everywhere. And here's the best part. There's no risk. Cozy Earth offers a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. Try them during the hottest stretch of the year. If you're not completely in love, send them on back in. Luxury should not be out of reach. Go to CozyEarth.com, use my code Megyn for up to 40% off best-selling temperature-regulating sheets, apparel, and more. Trust me, you will feel the difference the very first night. CozyEarth.com, code Megyn. The Trump administration accusing a Biden-nominated federal judge of openly defying a Supreme Court order. On Monday, the High Court, in a 6-3 decision, delivering a major win for the Trump administration, allowing deportations of illegal immigrants to third countries, meaning countries other than the ones that they are from. U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy confirmed in the waning days of the Biden administration, issuing a preliminary injunction against the Trump administration on April 18th. It barred the administration from deporting immigrants to these third countries without affording them the opportunity to object. Then, in May, Judge Murphy found that Team Trump had violated his April order by attempting to deport 8 illegals to South Sudan, all of whom had been convicted of other crimes, including murder. These men are currently being held at a U.S. military base in Djibouti after Judge Murphy ruled they could not be sent to South Sudan when they were already en route to the country. The Supreme Court on Monday lifting that April injunction, thus clearing the way for these deportations. Hours after the Supreme Court ruling, however, the detainees filing an emergency motion with Judge Murphy, asking for a continued block on their deportations. Judge Murphy saying the motion was unnecessary because, in his view, the order the Supreme Court stayed, the April one prohibiting these deportations, was different from the one that found the Trump administration had violated that earlier order when it attempted to actually deport these 8 men without the court-mandated due process. In other words, he said, even though my order saying you cannot deport them without a hearing has been vacated, you still violated it before we knew it was invalid, and therefore these men cannot be deported, as if not deporting these guys is now the punishment for the administration disobeying what we now know was an invalid order. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller reacting Monday night on Fox, calling Judge Murphy's order a lawless act and a judicial coup.
This is an incredible victory, the Supreme Court win. It allows President Trump, as the law has long said, but the courts have blocked, it allows President Trump to send illegal aliens convicted of rape, murder, homicide, assault, battery, crimes against children to any country around the world that is willing to accept them. In a little bit of breaking news is that the district court judge in Boston has said he's going to defy the Supreme Court's ruling, so expect fireworks tomorrow when we hold this judge accountable for refusing to obey the Supreme Court.
On Tuesday, the Trump administration filing a motion requesting the Supreme Court to clarify that its order allows these deportations to continue and asking it to stop Judge Murphy from interfering. From the motion, quote, the district court's ruling of last night is a lawless act of defiance that once again disrupts sensitive diplomatic relations and slams the brakes on the executive's lawful efforts to effectuate third country removals. The DOJ's filing also asks the justices to consider requiring Judge Murphy to obtain pre-clearance from the Supreme Court before he issues any future injunctions in this case, or to reassign the case to a different judge altogether. We'll continue monitoring the story for developments. After weeks of testimony from 34 witnesses, the prosecution in the Sean Diddy Combs trial on Tuesday resting its case. The day's proceedings beginning with the continued cross-examination of Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Joseph Cerciello. The defense reviewing several records attempting to prove alleged victim Jane was in fact a willing participant in the hotel nights involving Combs, male escorts, and bottles upon bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant. The defense also presenting evidence suggesting Jane and Mr. Combs hid the use of male escorts in these hotel nights from Combs' staff, apparently trying to prove that these were private encounters and not part of some staff-supported criminal enterprise. In one January 2023 message, Jane asking Combs what time she should tell the escort to arrive. Combs replying, quote, maybe 9:30 so he doesn't run into anyone. At the close of the prosecution's case, the defense making a motion for acquittal on all counts, saying the prosecutors did not prove each alleged crime. Defense attorney Alexandra Shapiro saying, quote, there's at best thin proof that any of the other employees willingly participated in crimes with and for Mr. Combs. The judge deciding to reserve decision on the motion, it's unclear when he will make a ruling. The judge asking Mr. Combs if he plans to testify, Combs telling the court he would not take the stand. The defense presenting a very quick case of its own on Tuesday afternoon before resting. Both sides expected to meet later today to discuss jury instructions. The jury is dismissed until Thursday, when closing arguments are expected to begin. And that'll do it for your AM update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the Megyn Kelly Show, live on SiriusXM Triumph Channel 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.